Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day and the start of an even better weekend. Shout out to the 9 team. Folks, we've talked obviously throughout the season about Teresa Weatherspoon and how she has done as the Chicago Sky coach, because of course there was a lot going on with Angel Reese and the whole Rookie of the Year thing and the double thing, and then you're dealing with Kennedy Carter and her hit on Caitlin Clark and then again on Marina Mabrey and on it went. And I talked about how she needed to go. And a big part of the problem was that she was coaching for Angel Reese to get those double doubles and keep that fake streak alive as long as possible to the detriment of her team. And what do you know? As it turns out, report reveals how former Chicago Sky Teresa Weatherspoon, should say Chicago Sky head coach or coach there. But anyway, lost locker room. A recent report explains a jarring reason why former Chicago Sky head coach Teresa Weatherspoon was fired last month. Why was she fired? Angel Reese is the main reason why she was fired. Now, there was a lot of typical coach stuff because she has had no experience as a head coach of a professional basketball team before the Chicago Sky handed her the keys to the kingdom. What is this with the WNBA and doing these things? Is that not what we just saw with Christy Sides? Clearly, as they say in the article here, it was a risk that did not pay off. This is a team that went backward despite having the number 3 pick and the number 7 pick in the draft. They went backwards badly. She made a lot of poor coaching decisions, but again, it's hard to separate what were truly poor coaching decisions with who Teresa Weatherspoon is as a person, which led her to do things like cater to Angel Reese and her double-double, limit the much better rookie Camila Cardoso, who I think is going to have a fantastic career if she stays healthy, because she is a much better player. She's got much better skill set, and she should have been the focus of the team along with Kennedy Carter. But instead, they focused on Angel Reese, which caused a lot of problems in the locker room, which caused a lot of problems on the court as well in terms of the team's performance. All because Weatherspoon, for whatever reason, I don't know the details, obviously, of the relationship between her and Angel Reese, but she decided early on her focus was going to be on making Angel Reese a star to the detriment of her team. Now, an article was dropped from, I don't even want to try and say Andy's last name because I don't want to butcher it, but Costabile. Sorry, Andy, of the Chicago Sun-Times talked about how she felt that catering to players, specifically to Angel Reese, is what caused a lot of problems in the Chicago locker room. If you recall, there were a lot of instances, but if you recall one later in the season after a bad loss where, I don't think it was Dana Evans. Oh my gosh. But anyway, another player and Camila Cardoso at the post-game press conference, and there was a lot of yelling and screaming and banging going on in the locker room that was disrupting the press conference. Camila even's like, "Hey, can someone close that door?" And they're just, that was a lost locker room because, according to the league sources, she was catering to the needs of a few players. This is, for those of you who have never been involved in any way with youth sports, and I mean even as a parent, if you have a parent, you might have seen this where people talk about what they call daddy ball, and that's when a parent is the coach of a team, a parent who has a lot of influence at the club in which the team plays, and of course they play their kid and the kid's best friends, and it's all about favoritism as opposed to fun, enjoyment, and development. And as this one says, we're going to get to. I actually brought this up so we can see it, so it's a little bigger. Um, According to league sources, Weatherspoon lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Again, this is what I had talked about in previous videos, and a number of you said the same thing in comments, and we are getting a little bit of confirmation on that. Yeah, her inability to keep the team schematically prepared was evident by her rotations and poor late game play calls. But again, I don't know if that's just solely poor coaching and that she couldn't do it, or if her catering to Angel Reese obviously influenced and affected those things, right? Her failure to maximize rookie Camila Cardoso, the number 3 overall draft pick, on offense also came into question. And again, I don't believe that that was necessarily that she didn't know how, so much as she shunted Camilla aside because she wanted to make Angel Reese the focal point, which was the big problem. And that is why she lost the locker room. Every locker room goes through their ups and downs, Senator Elizabeth Williams said Wednesday. There's always growing pains, whether it's with younger players or with a new coach. That was the general sentiment. So, just to give you an example, though, about her coaching, and there are some people right away, and I just did a video on this about the Fever getting Stephanie White, but as you can see here, they're talking about the Chicago Sky to attract White, who will be highly sought after if available. Now, I don't know how she doesn't choose the Fever, considering she has a history there as well and the opportunity to coach the last 2 rookies of the year with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. And yes, I know Kelsey Mitchell. I'm just pointing to the 2 back-to-back rookies of the year. That's an opportunity for a coach for sure. Now, it says the Sky would be, if available, Sky would have to be willing to spend money like the Mercury and Aces, and agreed. Like the Sky would have to make some major changes to attract somebody like Stephanie White. I want to get into the comments a little bit, but first, just a reminder to what I mean about the culture around what Teresa Weatherspoon was creating, even separate from the catering to players and the Angel Reese thing, is, if you all might remember this, this is the Kennedy Carter attack on Marina Mabrey after Mabrey requested a trade out of Chicago and went to the Connecticut Sun. And then when the first time they played each other after the trade, we had this from Kennedy Carter. Man, she brings that arm down hard. That was, to me, that's not just a flagrant one. That is a toss and a suspension, because that was clearly with intent to injure. For anybody who's played, I mean, that arm came down absolutely as fast as she could accelerate it. I'm going to give you one more look, and then I want to show you something with Teresa Weatherspoon after this, right? Bam! Oh, that's got to hurt. She's lucky she didn't catch her more flush and kind of came down the nose, because that could have been absolutely brutal for Marina Mabrey. Now, this image doesn't have the score, but I just want you to be clear that this right here, what we're looking at, play has not restarted yet. That foul occurred at 14-9 with 2:18 to go in the first. And then we got this as Kennedy Carter and her coach, Teresa Weatherspoon, talking. Look at that smile. She loves this. What is wrong with the people in the WNBA? This is disgusting. I mean, is she the one that told Carter to do this? Watch one more time. Look at the smirk. Look at the smile. Again, we have not even started play yet. So this is in reaction to what Carter just did. You can see the smile on Teresa Weatherspoon's face. This, folks, separate from the product on the court that has always been subpar, this is a huge problem for the WNBA in its growth, because we are seeing way too much of this. It seems as if the entire league is like Teresa Weatherspoon. I do not understand it. They ran Mabrey out of town. Dane Evans wanted to be traded. You had the players crying in post-game press conferences because of the way their own fans were treating them. The locker room had yelling, screaming, and people throwing stuff. To quote somebody, and I'm sorry, I'd give a shout out, but I can't remember who said it. But I just saw this on Twitter talking about another incident with the WNBA and just said the league is an unprofessional ass joke. And yeah, that's exactly what we're getting to see from the WNBA is stuff like this. The only thing I can say positively is kudos to the Chicago Sky for giving Teresa Weatherspoon her walking papers. That was the right decision. But hey, you can put now look, Weatherspoon made her decision. She's an adult, and you can see how she is with just in general. I showed in another video recently. She walked out of multiple press conferences after games simply for getting very basic, normal questions anyone would ask about the team, but she didn't like them, so she walked out. That is who she is. Setting aside that, Angel Reese played a big role in this as well. She destroyed the Chicago Sky in her rookie season. So it's going to be interesting what this team looks like going forward. Are free agents even going to want to come to this team and play as long as Angel Reese is there? Maybe if they see who the head coach is going to be and they can get reassurances in that regard, then that might happen. But I don't know that this is an attractive place for free agents at all. At all. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, both on Weatherspoon getting fired, on the role you thought she played in terms of just the absolute implosion of the Chicago Sky. It was actually crazy to watch, but I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for checking this out. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.